Hi guys, you're welcome to the Lare Studios. This is another Android programming tutorial. We'll be looking at one-to-one chats using Firebase for Android. Why are we implementing the chat with Firebase? Because it's easier and you can create a working app with one-to-one chat system in a single day. Let's consider some pros and cons of Firebase if we use it as a backend for our chat application. The first advantage of Firebase as a real-time database. That means you just need to have appropriate listeners in your app and you automatically get notified when something is updated in the database. It uses JSON format, the key value pairs, to represent its database, which can be user-friendly to some of the users who deal with JSON data on day-to-day basis. It is very fast and manages offline states automatically. It also has an authentication system through which you can provide a proper login sign up for users. Let's look at the disadvantages of using Firebase. No straightforward API available for sending push notification from one device to another without the use of a separate backend. No inbuilt encryption. You would have to implement your own encryption for chatting. So those are just the pitfalls. But aside that, we have a lot of advantages to use up. So we're actually going to be using Firebase for this particular chat application. And before you proceed, you need to create a Firebase project. Or if you have a Firebase project, you can create an app right inside the project. You move to the firebase.google.com to have that set up. You go to the console. Once you click on go to the console, you must have a Gmail account registered with this account. If you have a Gmail, definitely you're going to get logged in automatically. So you have a dashboard of this nature whereby you'll be able to create a project. And I have two projects, the Firebase database and Firebase invites. Inside each project, you can create apps. You can create iOS, you can create Android, and you can even create web app. So I'm actually going into the Firebase database project where I have six apps running inside this platform. So from here you can need to add apps. So once you click on the add app, you'll be notified, is it Firebase for iOS, for Android, or web app. So if it's for Android, you click on the Android button, and here you need to enter the reverse package name of your application and probably input a nickname. And if you really need to use the Google sign-in, you can get a debug sign-in certificate SSH, which is optional. After that, you download the config file. The config file is very, very important. That's a JSON file, which is like a metadata of your Firebase server. Very, very important because you need to include that in the app directory of your application. So after doing this, you finish up. Now I have an app created, an Android app created in the Firebase database project, which is called the Firebase chat. The reverse domain used, which is the package name, must be the same with your application package name. So if you're using blah 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 Firebase chat, it should just be the same. So after this, you need to go to the authentication to enable some authentication. If you want to use the email, the sign-in method that you need to use, you can use email and password. If you want to use Google sign-in, you want to use Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, even anonymous, you can also set up that. I have email password set up, enabled. This must be enabled. So afterwards, you're set and ready to use up the Firebase service. Don't forget, you need the JSON file generated after creating an app in a project. So you need to copy that right inside the app directory of your application. So from here, we'll be moving straight to Android Studio, where I'm actually going to create a new Android Studio project. Let me close this. So I'm actually going to create a new Android Studio project, and I'm going to let's click on Start New Android Studio Project. So we're going to name it, let's call it Firebase Chat, and I want this to sit in the directory called, I have a dedicated folder for Android Studio projects. So I want this to actually sit there. So we call the Firebase chat. This must be the same. Okay, if you notice, the Lare Studios Firebase chat, it's actually the same with the package been created, which is let me quickly show you that. It should be right in the let's look at projects. That's right inside this. It should the same. Can you notice com.delarstudios.firebase chat? So it should be the same for you to have it started up. So I'm going to continue with the setup of the Android Studio. Click on next. Minimum phone and tablet, the minimum API 15. That's okay. We go for empty activity. We're going to code from scratch, and we finish up this particular application. So we're going to start working on this, and don't forget you need to copy in the JSON, the Google services JSON file. So I'll be doing that. So I'll be moving straight to the directory where this application sits in the home Android Studio project. All Android projects are right inside here, and we have Firebase chat over here. So I'm actually going to go to the app directory. From here I paste in the JSON files back there. Let me just rename this. I have another one when I actually downloaded this JSON, so I just take that out. Google services.json. That's okay. So we got to move on with the structure of this application. So from here we'll be looking. I'll actually break this video into two parts. The first part will be deal with the XML files, while the second part will be talking about the Java classes. So, and the XML also contains the Gradle scripts. Let's go to the build Gradle. Let's get to look at the dependencies that we actually need in this application, which are very, very important. We're going to need the compile Android support design, because we likely use a coordinator layout, and even if you are going to use the floating action button, you will need coordinated support design 5.1.1. that's fine. We'll also need Firebase related dependencies. Let me just give Firebase related dependencies. Or we run the compile com.google Firebase database 9.6.1. We have another one, com.google Firebase messaging 9.6.1. Have another compile com.google Firebase authentication 6.1. Now we're going to need the OKHTTP for the network calls. OKHTTP, run a compile com.square up OKHTTP3 OKHTTP 4.1. We need an event bus. All dependencies needed. Compile org green robot event boss 3.0.0. That's fine. So outside we need to apply plugin com.google GMS, that's cloud service, that's Google services. Google services, that's fine. We're going to look at the build Gradle for the project because we need to include the class path. Of com.google.gms Google services. .0.0, that's fine. Of the sets. So from here we're going to actually sync. Let's sync Gradle, and let's have that set already. So afterwards we'll be moving straight down to the layouts files where we'll be talking about the XMLs used right in this particular applications. We'll talk about the activity charts. Okay, back to the build Gradle. I think missed something. Firebase over there. This should be hyphen. So let's try again. Firebase messaging. Now go to the layout. I'll be creating the layout used in this application. We're going to create the first one. We have the activity chart. It's indexing, so you have to wait after indexing to try to get that done. We're going to have activity login. That's for login interface. We're going to have activity register. We're going to have for the splash screen, activity splash. Going to have activity user listing. That's for the users. We're actually going to use a Recyclerview. So we're going to have some fragment chart, fragment login, fragment register, fragment users, now the item, all user listing, item, chat, mine, item, chat order, item, user, listing. That's fine. So those are the layouts we're going to be talking about, and we're going to have a menu. Let me just have those structures set up. Directory, a menu. On the right side is menu. You're going to have a menu file, which is going to be the menu user listing. Listing. And let's get to look at the values. Well, we'll be talking about additional colors. I'm actually going to copy that in, because we're going to have colors for deep red, yellow, purple, blah blah blah. So let's go back. Values, colors XML. So we now have the colors. This for the red, different shades of red. We also have different shades of deep purple, different shades of blue, and for green, we have shades of different primary colors. For yellow, for orange, for blue gray, we have for indigo pink, cyan, light green, amber, brown, purple, blue, teal, lime, orange, and gray. Different shades of colors that we'll be making reference to when needed. Even in the dimension, we have the FAB margin. We always have the default, the activity, horizontal and vertical. We have for the FAB margin. We have for space minimum, for space small, average, big. We have paddings. We have for margins, and we have for user icon width and height, and we have for the card corner radius and card elevation. The string XML, this is where we pointed out the string used in this application for settings, email ID, password, login, register. When user successfully added, when user unable to add, these are all string used. We even talk about the font family, robot light, and the type message, action logout, and so on. Now for the styles XML, what about we have the theme, no action bar, probably for login and some other thing. When you don't have an action bar, you don't need an action bar to be displayed. We have for the no action bars for this, for the splash screen, and we have for the ABBA overlay and for the pop-up overlay. If you are using the navigation drawer, you will need this theme to actually work with. And right there in the menu, we have the menu. We have the menu user listing. So let's get to incorporate details right inside the listing. Let's get to have some workaround here. We're going to call the tools context. That's the package, Firebase chat. Now we're going to have sub packages, UI, activities. We've not created them now, but we just specified, and we're going to have the login activity. That's fine. So let's import the tools context, and we're going to afterwards have the item which we need displayed at the top bar, Android ID, let's give it at concatenate ID. We give it action. We need a logout button or a logout menu. Android. Order in category, Android. Android. Title. Add string. Action. Logout. App. Show as action. That's fine. That's for the menu settings. And from here we'll be looking at we need a values file which is called IDS. Let's quickly create that. So say value XML IDS. We're going to have that specified as a resource anyway. So we're going to have an item name which will be item click support, and we're going to have a type ID. That's fine. So we've actually set up some other resources. Now we're going to focus more on the layouts now. We'll be talking about the UI. We're going to look more detailed into that. The first will be the activity login. Let's get to set up our login page. Let's get to look at the activity login. So we're going to introduce the coordinator layout. That's why we actually introduced the support design earlier on, for the Android support design widgets coordinator layout. That's cool. We have the layout with the night match parent. Let's get to look at the preview. So now we're going to have that alongside, and we have the Android fits system windows true, and the tools contest let's import this. So this is going to call the package. No, it's not going to call main activity. It's going to call UI activities, and it's going to call login activity. That's cool. So right inside the coordinator layout, we're going to have the Abba layout, Android support design widget, Abba layout. Now we have the layout with the night, Android layout with match parent, Android layout height, which will be wrap content, and we have theme, Android theme, called the style, app theme, app bar overlay, so right inside this app bar layout, we're going to have Android support version 7 widget toolbar. Assign an ID to this. Toolbar. Layout with and height with match parent, Android layout height. Now we call the attributes action bar size. We're going to have Android background. We still call the attributes, color primary for the background. App pop-up theme is going to be add string, no style rather, calls the app theme, pop-up overlay. Let's import this. Alt enter brings that in, and let's have a title, add string, app name. That's gonna be the title of this. Now you have this set appropriately. So we're going to have a frame layout outside the app bar layout. We're gonna have a frame layout, layout with an height, match parent. Inside this frame layout, we're going to have an ID. Let's call it frame layout content login app layout behavior, call the string app bar scrolling view behavior. That's cool. So that's set up our login. From here, let's have the register. So we have to register. The register actually looks a lot much like the login, so I'll just have a full copy. No, let me actually do it from here downwards, or let me just take a copy, register, let's take a copy. Now instead of activities login, it's going to be a register. It's in caps, don't need that in caps. Register activity, so that's fine. And now we have the match parent, app theme, or set with our bar layout. Even the widget, that's fine. We have the same widget. Now let's see the frame layout. Now we're going to change this. The ID, which is layout content, login now is going to be register. Just need for only you. Register. And we maintain the app scrolling view behavior. That's fine. From here we'll be looking at, let's get to look at, we have the login, we have the register. Let's look at the splash, because there will be a splash screen. We just need to integrate the drawable which we'll be using, so we're still going to specify this as a coordinator layout. Android support design widget coordinator layout, whereby we have the rotation as vertical with an height match parent, and we're going to call the fit window Android fit system windows true, and give the tools context. Which we need to bring in, and we're going to call the Delaware Studios. Now it's not going to be main activity, it's going to be UI activities splash activity. They get that working, splash activity. That's for the splash screen. Now let's talk about the chart. We should have a chart layout as well, and we're still going to maintain what we had from the register, but now we're going to do some little tweak. So let me just copy this back to the chart, paste that right in. Now we're going to change this actually to it maintains login. Let it maintains login UI, because that's where the authentication is coming from. And we have that set. So afterwards, we have the ABA layout, match parent. We have the widget toolbar, which is also the same. And let's get to look at the frame layout, which is the content. Now the content will be, we're still going to create, the content will be chart. That's just the difference. That's the idea, I mean. And it maintains other aspects. So that's cool. So from here we'll look at we've got to look at, we don't need activity main. I'm just delete this. We don't need activity main, so we can need this. No, just delete it. We'll get to make the reference in the Java class. It's actually using the main activity. So now we'll look at the fragment chart. Let's get to look at fragments. These are what will actually be populated inside those layouts. Now the fragment takes a different dimension. There's a relative layout. Match parent, that's fine. Now we're going to call the Recyclerview. Android support version 7 widget Recyclerview mobile. We assign an ID, Android ID. So we're going to give Recyclerview underscore view underscore chart. That's going to be the ID. Android layout width, match parent, Android layout height, match parent, Android. So it's going to sit above, layout above, ID, edit, text message. We still have to create that identifier. It's not found, no problem. We'll have to create that. Now we call the app layout manager. Which is going to be linear layout manager. That's the kind of Recyclerview we'll be using. That's what that depicts. So let's bring this in. Now let's quickly create the reference to the ID of edit text. So we need an edit text, just as the name implies. Layout with an height, match parent, grab content. We need an ID. It's going to be edit text message, so sit below that, and we're going to have Android layout align parent button true. So go to the bottom, that's what that means. Android layout margin, margin, So we call the dimension. This time is going to call margin small. I have the set already. Now we call the background. Now at drawable, we'll be using some rounded. So I'm actually going to be copying in some drawables. That's some PNG or JPEG file, BG. It's not actually available, so I actually copy them in. So they are actually XML files which you'll be creating right inside. You have the BG for this BG JPEG is actually for the splash screen. So let's create a new drawable resource file called rounded rectangle background BG. So let's get to the shape. It's not a selector. Shape. Now we're going to have Android, or let me do it this way. It's actually an extension from here. Android shape rectangle. Now let's have corners. So from the, we'll still make reference to the radius. Android radius 4 dB. Solid Android color white. That's how it goes. Now let's have the stroke. Android width. Android color. Now we need the gray. As a shade of gray. Cool. So from here, that's cool. But let us create other drawable files so that once we make reference to them, we won't be rushing down to the drawable to create them. We have for the IC error 24 dB. This is also going to take the dimension, but this is a vector. This is a vector graphics of error. Let's get to look at the circle accent. Get to import that anyways, so I'm going to do that later on. But let's move on with other drawables. Circle accent. This is going to be a shape. Shape. I'm going to Android shape oval this time, not rectangle. So let's set the size of this shape. Android width at dimension. User icon width. For the corresponding height. Oh, I've closed it out there. No, for the height. The dimension is icon height. That's cool. we have solid, Android color, calling the color, color accents. Cool. So you can see the oval with a kind of shadow casted, while looking good. So we're going to have for the chart rounded rectangle background. So let's get to do that as well quickly. Call that chart rounded rect bg. So that's also be a shape. To be 100 shape, rectangle, corner radius, corners. You have the 100 radius for DP. You're going to have solid, 100 color, color accent, we have stroke, Android width 1 dp, and we're going to have color, that's color, gray 300. Cool. So we have that set as well. So I'll be importing the IC error, which is actually we're going to use the vector graphics, the vector access rather, to do that. So let's move back to, I think we are still on the fragment chart. Yeah, fragment chart. Well, we're going to continue with what we have already. So that's settled. So let's look at, we're still going to include some other stuff here. We still need a hint. What about we call the string? Now we got type your message as the link. We call the Android IME options, which is action send. Action send. We still call on, you can see we are creating that kind of text message for the chart. Android input type will be text, and the Android maximum lines will be 1, and we're going to give a padding, Android padding at dimension, padding small. So this is like the chat room, the fragment whereby we have recycler. This is actually going to be chat messages, and this the input field to actually type in your chat message, and you forward it over to the recycler for use. So we have that settled. Now let's have a fragment that goes on to the login. It's a fragment that goes on to that. The linear layout, that's cool. Layout with a night. Now we're going to give a padding, Android padding at diamond. You can see the way we've actually declared the dimension, declare the strings. It makes your coding easy. You just continue to make reference to them. You don't have to go back, or you don't make add code numbers, add code dbs. This takes away a lot of stress out of you coding your XML files, and even the Java source to match parent. No, this should be match parent. The width should Space match parent, while the height should wrap the content. I think it's better the way. Now we create an ID. ID. At ID. Edit. Text message. No. This should be edit. Text. Email. ID. And let's have a needs. String. Email. And we have the input type. Text. Email. Address. That's fine. That's for the first edit text. Let's get to have another one. Just copy this. Copy. Paste. Match parent, match parent. The ID should be different. And the text password. The int should be password. While the input type should be text password. That's cool. Now we're going to create a space. We're going to call that Android. Support version 4 widget space over there. Let's give layout with tonight. Match parent. Another one, which is going to be the height. Match parent. We close that right there. From here, we're going to have the buttons, the two buttons. First button. Layout with tonight. Let's give wrap content since they're buttons. Give an ID. Let's call it button login. I think it's okay that way. Let's give a style, which we'll call the attributes. Borderless button style, and we give the layout Android layout, align parent top, layout align parent end rather. True. Android layout. Okay, said to support older version other than, you also need to add Android layout align parent right. So let me add that. Android layout align parent right. True as well, for it to support later versions. That's fine. And we're going to have the text at string login. Now let's just copy this. Paste it right there. lest I forget, we need a layout for this button. Actually didn't create any layout for this. We need a relative layout. Layout with tonight match parent. Okay, fine. And even the spacing, match parent. Yeah, let's give a different dimension. Space average, let's give that. Now this relative layer should be wrapped around the button over here. What's this way? So now we have button login, and which is the ID. Here is going to be button register. Button register, and have the button style, wrap content, align parent button, true, layout center horizontal, text, align parent end. Let me take away this right, let me see what will happen. String should be login register. Okay, that's fine. Just bring this back. So login register. That's okay, that's fine. So this is actually new user, tap here to register. So if you are already have an account, you click on the login button. That's cool. So let's look at the fragment for the register. That's cool. We'll just take a copy of the login and we'll do a modification. Let's do modification. We have to modify the linear layout, fine. Dimension, okay. We have an edit text which takes an ID of email ID, cool. The string. We have another edit text which is for password, cool. We have for the space, that's fine. And we have a relative layout, the houses, that's cool. Now the button will only be button register instead of this. We'll take this out. Now we have button register, and the string will be register, not login register. Register, and the aligned parent end. That's just what we need. Should be true. We always need a corresponding aligned parent right. Not bottom, right. True. Do we need center horizontal? Don't think so. Take this out. So you have the set. That's for the register. Now let's look for the users, fragment for the users. Now we just gonna make this a frame layout. Layout with tonight. Match parent. We're okay with this. Now let's introduce the swipe refresh layout. We need a refresh. Android to always trigger for new users that gets to the Firebase users. because we need users to get charts with. We need a swipe or refresh layout. Android ID, call it swipe refresh layout. Android layout width, match parent. Android layout height, match parent. Right inside here we need Android support version 7 widget Recyclerview. Android ID Recyclerview all user listing. Android layout width, match parent. Android layout height, match parent. App layout manager. That's going to be the linear. You have different layout manager. You have the grid, you have the jagged grid, import this, we're good to go. That's for the users. Let's have the item all user listing. That's going to actually show all the users we have, right inside the Firebase, to show your users, all users that have been registered into the application, via the application anyway, or from anywhere, but right inside your Firebase, you get all users from there. And let's make the height to wrap content. Give a background. We call the Android attribute. We get selectable item background, Android clickable, true, Android gravity, center vertical, orientation, we specify that, Android padding button, there's going to be padding small, Android padding end, go at dimension. There's going to be padding average. We also need a padding right corresponding. That's dimension. Just the same. And we need an Android padding start at dimension. Also need the last one, Android padding top at dimension. That's fine. So right there we have a text view, layout with the height, our content, id text view user alphabet Android background at drawable circle accent. That's cool. Android gravity sender Android maximum ems 1 Android text all caps true Android text appearance Android text appearance large Android text color gray Android gray net gray so need Android text style a lot of attributes right there bold do tools text equals to import this that's fine. That's for the text view. Now let's have a space before we have the next text view. Call Android and supports dot version 4 widget space. Now we're going to have text view space. We're going to have Android layout width at diamond / space average UVG Android layout height graph content. That way sets it all. Now I'm going to copy this text view but make amends because we need another text view which is actually going to be for the email address of the user, you know. Now let's call it username text view username. Okay, ellipse size, don't need a background, just need Android ellipse size, and don't need a gravity, change this to maximum lines, maximum lines 1, text appearance large, text color it should be gray 700, it's a different shade, text style now we don't need it, and the text should be, that's going to be the email, that's abcd at xyz.com. Text cool, all caps, no, we don't need this, don't need that, that's fine, left tonight, maximum lines, blah blah blah. So we have that set. Let's get to look at the chart mine. Set the chart mine, and before we set the chart order and item user list, let's quickly cover that. Relative layout. Now we're going to have these as wrap content. We're going to have background. And attributes. Selectable item. I think we're just gonna maintain what we got here instead of just repeating. Just copy that and just get to measurements where appropriate. Now center vertical orientation. Where's the rotation? Here should be horizontal. Yeah, diamond, pattern small, and so on. Now the same text view. Let's pick it up. Same text view. Pick it up. Chart mine. So now we're going to, let's bring this in if we really need it. Change the ID. Text view. This should be chart message. Wrap content. Dimension, which is actually going to be the margin start. We need a margin start. Let's give 100. Layout, margin start. We're going to need a margin left. No problem. This is at dimension. So margin huge. 100. Layout, margin left, high dimension margin left. This one. So wires layout to start off, we need 100 layout to start off. Text view, user alphabets. User alphabets. Okay, that's cool. Take away this gravity, don't need it. We don't need this as well, EMS. The background should be chart, rounded rectangle by BG. That should be the background. Text all caps, not needed. Text appearance, we need this to be medium. Text color, gray, yeah. Don't need a text style. Now this text should be notice. Man, is that? Okay, I'm okay with this. That's fine. I just start. If we need any other inclusion, we get to do that. So let me just still maintain the same copy I had earlier for the next one. Still have the copy, which is actually text view, layout written height, wrap content, that's fine. View user alphabet, cool. Drawable, which is the background. Circle accent, cool. Gravity, maximum ESP, text all caps. Text appearance, large. Color gray. Text style bold. A. That's fine. This is what we need. Now an ID, the user alphabet. Let's move on to the item chart order. Chart order, let's get to look at that as well. Now it's still the same look and feel. All this layout with tonight. I think I have it up to this level. Now I can copy this chart order. This time maintain the linear layout. Paste the right there, the background, item background, clickable true, horizontal. This should be horizontal. I need a vertical. Padding bottom, small, average, and small. Right and start here. Let's go. So now the text view, which is text views alphabet, I think it's just with this text views alphabet. Copy that, bring that there, paste it right there. Now let's import this. Alt enter. Text views alphabet. Let's go wrap content with an height, background, accent, sender, EMS true, large, cool. We also need to pick up the space. Do we declare the space here? We didn't. I think we declared over here. Let's pick this up. Copy that. Come back. We need a space. Now a space. Now we need another text view. I think this should follow suit with this. Copy this. Let's bring down measurements. Now what we're going to do, we have text view chart message, cool. Wrap content with an height, dimension, margin huge. We have for the start off. To start off, we don't need that. We need these two. To start off, medium. And text appearance, medium, cool. Gray, 100. Let's change this notice. Let's give it to hello mates. How you doing? How are you? How you doing? That's okay. And margin end. I think we need a margin instead of the margin starts. Let's have an end. The end we need a right. Margin right. That's fine. So we have that set appropriately. We'll be looking at the last item, which is the user listing. Wow, we've actually done a lot. We've covered a lot in this part. Let's get to look at the. So we're still going to pick up from here down here. We have the same look and feel. Drop this. Selectable background, clickable true. Graffiti. No, we don't need a graffiti. And we get to. We also don't need graffiti in the chart order as well. Don't need this graffiti. Let's take this out. That makes it sit at the top. Cool. Let's find our way. Now we need a padding bottom. Let's see how we're going to do with this padding. We need the end. We don't need a padding bottom. We need a padding end right and a start. that's fine. This is okay. So we're going to have a relative layout afterwards. Relative layout, width and height, match parent, wrap content. Inside this relative layout, we'll still have those text views. Now this one is for the username. Let me look for the one with the username. Username. That's the chat. I think I have one for the username over there. This one. Copy. Come right here. Paste it right here. Now we have. Let me import this. Wrap content. That's fine. Username. Align. We're going to have align parent stats. That's Android. Align layout. Align parent start, which will be true. It's going to have a corresponding word. Align parent left. True. That's fine. We're going to have layout to start off. We don't need maximum lines here. Text view. View. Use notification. We're actually going to create this count. We've not created that anyway, but never mind. We're going to have padding end. You don't need all these right here. You have 100 padding end, which is actually at diamond. Padding small, so we need a corresponding padding left or so. Padding right now. That's fine. So we don't need a choose context, choose text. Just don't need you. So from here, I'm going to actually create the notification count text view, which is being referenced here. Now another text view with an wrap content. An ID. Text view, notification count, and online Android layout, align parent end, true, parent right. Cool. Start off. We're gonna need to support other version of API 70. Also add align layout to left of. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Now let's have our space. Space more. Now let's have the last text view. Match variant and wrap content. ID. We give that text view. We all use all these IDs. Please keep tag on them. Last message. They're not just there for fancy. They're actually going to be made reference to in the Java code. Ellipsize and Android maximum lines 1. That's set it up for all the layout files, the drawable, the menu, the values. You know, we've talked about all the resources needed in this application. From here we'll be looking at the Java source, and which will actually be from the second part of this particular video, whereby we're going to have some sub packages. Let me just start to create them. Whereby we're going to have sub packages like car. We're going to have events. We're going to have FCM. So our sub packages used. We're going to have models. We're going to have UI. We're going to have utils as utilities. So that's it. And we're going to have the outer class as Firebase chat mail app. Let's call it Firebase chat main app. Firebase chat main app. So that's the outer. We don't need the main activity. We're not using the main activity as a reference. The activity used as a reference will sit in the UI sub package. So we need to take away the main activity. So in the next part of this video, we'll be covering the Java classes and even the manifest. We implore you to stand by, don't go anywhere. There's a bumper package. You asked for this, the Firebase chatting system. This is a one-to-one chatting system, which is quite good for you. Thank you very much for hanging out with me throughout this first part of this wonderful tutorial, and please subscribe to my channel. Have a lovely time. Bye bye. Catch you in the second part.